Hello, everyone. This is Linda Ferguson
Karen Nelson Bell.
and welcome to another episode of Platinum Prime for Life, your show where Karen and I share our tips, tricks, and our life hacks to make our lives Platinum Prime. And we're sharing them with you so that you can do the same. As most people know, my focus is on the financial. And the financial really going into that Platinum Prime part of your life. Karen's focus is on weight loss, being healthy, good tips for maintaining those things, and things both of us share on how to improve the quality of your life so that you are existing far into the future at a Platinum Prime level. Today, I got to choose the topic, and I wanted to go on the financial side of things. And I'm going to ask you a question, Karen.
Okay.
Karen, do you know what the 3 biggest financial mistakes people make after the age of 50 are?
No, I don't.
Okay, take some guesses.
Well, I'll bet one of them is not having somebody smart to advise you.
Oh,
Is that true? Is that one?
you know, that's a very good guess. That's actually not the biggest financial mistake.
Okay.
I
That was a
wish
good
it
guess.
were.
Okay, let's
You could
see.
contact me. But
Not realizing that insurance is necessary and uh, vital for good finances. I have a friend who didn't believe in insurance.
mm,
He was a wealthy guy and he died and nothing was she had nothing. And so
wow.
I think not realizing the value of insurance beyond just insuring your life, but also to use as a financial tool. I think that's one. Not appreciating insurance for what it's worth.
That's a
Is that
really good guess.
is
Well,
that
let's
good?
actually go over. We're going to touch on that. And yes, that's not a mistake. But let's talk about what the biggest mistakes are
Okay.
because
Well,
these are bigger.
bigger than those. Okay. Well, you tell me.
Okay. So the first thing is just not doing anything. And you sort of touched on it when you said the guy decided he didn't believe in insurance, and that included life insurance or making sure that your family's cared for if something should happen to you as the primary breadwinner. So that is a big mistake. But even above that is savings, not saving for the future, not planning for the future. You're just going to wait and decide.
So is waiting a mistake? Just the word just waiting. That's a mistake.
It actually is, because when someone decides to wait, it means they sort of shut off what their options are. They aren't actually looking around like, what can I do right now? What does the future look like right now? They close their mind to that because they're going to wait. And waiting or doing nothing when you know you should be doing something sets you up for everything being much more expensive or, being prepared because you don't have anything in place if something happens. So you have lost options. Avoiding deciding means that sometimes you're forced into deciding. And a lot of times we see that happening where people have to make a decision and they're so not set up for the decisions that they have to make. And like your friend who didn't plan for what happens to his family if they survive longer than he does, or they're suffering because of it, that's that. All right, so here's the second mistake. A lot of times people have created a lot of wealth, they have a lot of money, but they don't have any plan for what that money will do. How does it fit into their life? They've saved a lot, they've got a lot in their bank accounts. And there's a point in most people's lives where they're saving, they're making wealth, they're gathering things to them, so they're accumulating money, but they don't have a plan for, well, what happens when they no longer work or their earning capacity for whatever reason has shifted and they don't have those same earning opportunities that they did in the past. They can live on
Well,
their savings.
that was what happened to my friend who didn't take the insurance, also didn't realize that his income was what kept everything floating. So
Right.
what you said is so real to me.
In the world of AI, we daily see announcements of mass layoffs for industries or jobs that were very high paying. And suddenly, just the whole marketplace has shifted, and those jobs are becoming obsolete. The people were making a lot of money. They no longer have that job position to go after anymore. And now they have to do something with their future. And if they haven't thought it through or had some plan, they're going to have to start living off their savings. And as you and I know very well, if you have to do that, if you have to live off your savings, there's a point where you won't have any savings to live off of. And if you didn't have a plan in place for anything, any sort of safety net, you could be in serious trouble.
That's exactly what happened because my friend, the reason he had the loss of income was because he died, and he hadn't thought what will happen to my family
Yeah.
if I'm not out there producing like you're talking about. So it wasn't AI took his job away. You don't know, even if you're healthy like me. I don't know if I'm going to have a strange encounter with a bus tomorrow. I don't know. So
Don't
even
do
the
it, Karen.
healthiest among us can't predict.
That's right. You just want to have a safety net there and know that it's
Right.
well thought out. So, not taking action, having money, but you don't have a plan for it. There's a huge aspect about having money with no plan. The IRS can have lots of plans for your money. And every year, they'll help you make a decision about a big chunk of it. So if you do have accumulated wealth and you haven't really planned for how you're going to protect that wealth from the IRS, from the many, many taxes that can be leveraged against you and your estate, that's a big mistake. And it's a really big mistake. The older you get, the more you've probably accumulated in your life and the more apt to lose a big chunk of that to taxes exists.
You know, a friend who had a wonderful program. He was one of my mentors, and he
Uh-huh.
had a program called The Secret Millionaire. And he was and it went along with what Warren Buffett says was he says own everything. No, uh, uh own nothing, control everything so that you aren't exposed to anybody grabbing what you've got so that it's protected so that your family is the one that benefits. And I really believe that's an important thing. When I win the lottery, I'm not going to tell everybody.
Protection it's a huge thing. And it's the third big mistake people do is they don't protect what they've built. And the older you get, the more you actually see this happening where someone has a large estate, has a lot of money, and suddenly they're very, very ill and they have expensive health care that for whatever reason isn't covered and they are going through lots of money to protect their health. At the point where it's your health and your life or your wealth, most people will opt for staying healthy unless they feel like even if they did everything, they wouldn't really live that much longer. But for a lot of people, it's I feel horrible and I don't want to feel horrible. And it's worth it for me to spend a lot of money to fix that. If you don't have the correct protections in place, that can decimate your money pretty quickly. And I have seen many couples where one person needs expensive care and they just go through their life savings and then their equity in their home until they're left with very little. But to keep the life of their loved one going, they need help.
Is I one of the things that's important is the first thing was to do nothing. If you wait to protect your assets, then you might be in trouble because there are time frames when you're going to look for care, there are time frames for when you had to have transferred your assets to someplace else. Am I crazy, or is that true?
Well, that's totally true. Insurance is a funny thing. You get it when you don't need it, and when you do need it, it's not available. An insurance company is not going to give you insurance because you're unhealthy suddenly and you need help with your hospital bills. That's not the way insurance works.
Yeah.
So the word insurance is you're spreading the risk. It just means you're spreading the risk within a pooled group of individuals.
Yeah.
And so you're paying your premiums and hopefully you never have to use them. But if you ever did, you would know exactly what you had as far as coverage goes if the insurance company that you're working with is very clear on how your coverage works, or you're very clear on that. So having insurance for eventualities that you hope never happen is a good policy because it protects what you have built so that you don't have to dip into your own savings, your equity, or whatever to pay for the care that you now need. And this particular mistake, we're talking about health, which is your area of expertise, Karen. Staying healthy is the plan. It is totally the plan. The financial side of it is have something in place just in case your plan doesn't work out as
Yeah.
perfectly as
Yeah.
you had
Yeah.
expected it to. And there's a point where almost everyone, if they live long enough, they're going to live to a point where they need and want some help or care in their daily living. And that's long-term care, something that Karen's very expert at, actually. And that happens to be very expensive. And when you get to a point where you need it, you have to pay for it out of pocket if you don't already have a solution in place. So I'm just saying that.
Here's how I view it, in terms of all the kinds of protections you can have. Always take my umbrella, and it never rains. So I have this. That's why I convinced my late hubby to get insurance. Was this, if you get this insurance, then it won't rain. Well, it didn't actually turn out to be true, and I was so glad I had the insurance.
Yes, exactly. And if you think about things, the sooner you put decisions in place on how you want to handle future eventualities, the less painful it will be and the more peace of mind you'll get. So just be aware of what potentially could happen without fixating on it. We don't want you to fixate on it because that's its own amount of stress. But this could happen. This is my plan for how to handle it if I need it. And then the sooner you put any sort of insurance or investing or plan in motion, the smaller the increments are that you need in order to fund it. And the better you'll sleep at night. And if something does happen, the less effect it will have overall on devastation in your life.
And
Your
can
life
I
will get better.
presume that people can reach out to you because you are expert at this. You are expert at using all kinds of tools, not just one tool, but all kinds of tools. And I think when I win the lottery, I'm coming to you first. I will tell you. I'm not going to tell everybody, but I'll tell you because you'll help me. So um, I would think that everybody should reach out to Linda today.
Well, I'll tell you what, even better than that, I've put together just a very simple checklist and it goes over some of the things that we've discussed, a few other things for you to consider for your future on what to do.
Thanks.
And then
Nice.
if you want a discussion on it, definitely reach out to me. I'm very, very happy to talk. Sometimes just talking to someone and gently getting the answers on problems where you think, well, I don't really want help or I don't need help. I'm very happy just to discuss it with you. And so I'll have my contact information on the handout as well. All right,
Excellent.
Karen. So we're going to wrap it up at this point. And next week, Karen has some really interesting health-related things that you'll want to stick around for and hear about because they're very helpful for living a Platinum Prime life in the peak of health. All right?
Yep.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We will see you again next